Welcome to the Nesting Eagles podcast. My name is Drew. I'm here with my co-host Beth. Beth, how's it going?
I've had better days, Drew. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sleepless doing this podcast, so hopefully it comes out okay.
yeah, yeah. I know you had some action. So, do you want to talk a little bit about what happened at your place last night?
Well, we have like a half-acre pond on our property, and we have wood duck boxes, and we have two boxes that are filled with wood duck eggs, and one box filled with hooded merganser eggs. And the one of the wood duck boxes, I noticed fluff coming out of it this morning, and we had like this huge cacophony twice during the middle of the night where our dog was just going nuts. So there was feathers coming out of the box this morning. So I don't know if she was taken, but it's also right. It seems past due for the eggs to hatch. So I'm wondering if she knew they were infertile and she just left. But
Yeah,
yeah, we have a lot of activity that goes on in this house. It's crazy. Chickens go off, the guinea fowl goes off,
get us into
and our hooded
the-
mergansers, my husband just tells me, are gone.
Oh
So
boy, something.
but they
Something.
likely fledged. But now I have the card, so you'll be seeing it next week or next time we do a podcast if we caught them jumping.
Okay, I think I'm good. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. You might have seen just Beth there, but all right. So yeah,
Which
that's
nobody needed to see large screen, so
well,
I
yeah.
apologize to everyone.
That's no problem. But yeah, so we're gonna start with, of course, the Trempealeau nest, and we have another update from Larry. So I'll let Beth take
Yeah.
over. What's going on?
So this is Larry's really cool picture of the Trempealeau nest from the road below, and this was the first time he was able to see both chicks at the same time, and I believe their numbers are TE6 and TE7. So you can definitely see the one to the left very clearly, and the one to the right is a little bit
Yep.
behind the pine needles. You can
Yeah,
see
I'll
its
kind of
head
circle
there.
it with my cursor here. It's over
Yeah.
here.
So yay, they are getting sizable, doing the same thing all bald eagles do at this time, which is getting curious and looking at their world beyond their nest.
Next one is a good shot of oh, you can actually you can see both of them right there. This one's kind of hard to see because of the light.
Man,
Yeah, there's a second one there, so they're both
I
there.
didn't know
and
the ones in. Oh, Larry, look at this. So he's got one in silhouette, and then he's got the one lit. I didn't even notice that, Drew.
Yeah, I just noticed it too. I didn't notice it when I first looked at it, but yeah. And then we have the two
And
two
then
adults.
no, that's mom down below
That's
to the
sorry,
right.
that's the camera. It looked like a
Yeah, and
body
then
underneath.
that's the camera.
No, that's the camera. Sorry
See
about that. It kind of looked like a brown.
It
brown part
does,
of
and he said it was a camera, and when he sent the pictures, and I'm like, isn't that an eagle? And then it's like,
Yeah.
gosh, I am middle-aged. I really need to move in to see what that is. So
that's the camera. You can see the why. Clearly see
Yeah.
why we're not getting footage this year. So
yeah, very
those
clear
sneaky
why
birds,
we're not.
like we're just gonna put a nest right on top of the camera so you guys can't see anything. So tricky birds. but-
So yeah, it's just one of the adults in that picture. I don't know. That looks like it could be a female. Looks like a
yeah.
longer body.
Yeah, it's again, it's a little hard to tell. I don't know this.
Yeah.
Those eagles.
it's one of the
as
parents.
Larry does. Yeah.
And then this is Mrs. MNI.
Yep. So that's interesting. She's
Wait,
still,
I'm sorry. This is Mrs.
No,
T. Sorry,
yeah.
Larry, I misquoted you. This is Mrs. T just perched near the nest. And then he added additionally that Mrs. MNI, so the Mrs. on the Minnesota Island nest, is still frequenting the nest, and Mr. T is visiting less often from what Larry has observed. So
Yeah.
that's interesting, but he is still visiting.
Yeah, that is interesting. So when he gets a break, his
Yeah.
duties as
As a
pair
two-time
mate,
dad.
he's
Yeah.
still got his girlfriend on the side, I guess, that he's
Yes.
still visiting a little bit, but not as much. So yeah, that is interesting. So, but yeah, it's still bizarre. I'm really interested to see how this all plays out. But it looks like Mrs. T has, at least for this season, has gotten the upper hand, and good to see that they're doing well with the two eaglets. That's exciting, and everything seems to be in good spirit. So that's really good news. Glad for that. I know people really like this nest, so we'll continue to update when we hear from Larry, and I think it's a fun process to watch. And
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, Larry is an excellent bald eagle nest watcher. So at the BENW. We are very happy to have him. He puts in his weekly reports. He is following, ultimately 4 nests, although Mrs. N and I did not nest this season. So he's got 3 that have chicks in them, and we have a lot of BENW volunteers that are watching multiple nests, and our hats off to all our volunteers, and thank you, Larry, for providing us for information to put on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. Much appreciated. And lastly, this is one of his other nests.
Right. This is in the refuge. And this one just has 1 chick. And then his other nest has 2 chicks, but he can't really get pictures of it. So, but where this nest is, it does look very stark because it's like a marsh. And so it's like this picture really gives you the feel for where this bird is being raised. So very interesting area, Trempealeau. I really like it up there. So even though I didn't get to spend too much time.
Yeah, it's
but I found Larry out of it. So
no, that was a good trip, and I'm glad you did that because we were searching around with it. I know it was an extremely long day because what were you guys coming from? Wyoming,
Idaho.
I think or Idaho, so a long trip
with the air conditioning out in the car, so that was really fabulous with 106-degree heat.
And then one thing we forgot to mention, I actually got word we have our first fledge in the Bald Eagle Nest Watch. So what was it? I think it was,
which is early.
We're documented on so it was at least on the 16th, maybe earlier. You never know. It depends on when our volunteers show up. So this eagle could have been fledged around here. So the middle of May is super early. This is our this nest is almost every year is the first one that fledges eagles.
It's not the nest you're looking at. It's the nest.
No. No picture included. But so basically, these guys are always early. It as Beth and I were talking off camera, is sometimes it's a benefit to starting that early, and other times it's not. It all depends. Sometimes they got hits. I think they failed at least once, maybe twice since they've been nesting, and it's usually something occurring like an early spring storm where most of the other nests are on eggs or not even at that point, and these guys are on eaglets, and if you hit it just right where there's a big storm in that sensitive first couple weeks after hatch, it can be devastating, and that's when we get a fair amount of nest failings. But overall their time frame is super early, and I guess the volunteers, they're always the first ones out. They're like, yep, we're done. So they have 2 eaglets this year. They have one that's fledged and one that's branching. And just for a refresher, branching is they're out on a limb, but they haven't taken that first flight, but they're getting real close to taking that first flight. And we use a full fledge, which basically means that they have to take some sort of distance flight. It could be as a couple of wing beats, or sometimes it's a little longer than that, but that's what we consider a fledge in our groups. It looks like probably maybe today, maybe within the next few days, though, that nest will be fully fledged with both eaglets, which is really exciting. So
we typically say our program runs until like the first week of July or the 1st of July, because it's most eaglets have fledged by then, like the last couple weeks of June. So it's just really early to be in May. And
it is. So these are definitely their early birds, and I know I've seen a couple more that are coming along. And we kind of have a group chat on a private Facebook group for the Bald Eagle Nest Watch, and there are some I saw that we're branching, so I think we're going to probably have a couple more nests fledge soon as well. So that's really exciting news.
They can spend a long time branching, though.
Yeah.
That phase kind of can last forever.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it's real quick, sometimes it's not. But it's usually most of the time within the week. If they are branching, they usually get going, but they're all a little bit different.
But now is the exciting time, I think, of the season, because we in Wisconsin are experiencing, I think, warmer than normal weather. We were in the 80s yesterday, and it's like, it's May. Today's going to be like 81 in my area, and then we're in the 70s. So it's warm, and if it's sunny out and you have this brown, black feather covering, that can get pretty, warm on you. So a lot of times the chicks are up in the nest and you can just see them much more easily now. Not just because they're bigger, but because, they're no longer being brooded and they're warm. So they're up and panting or flapping their
Yeah.
wings to cool off.
So these are some of the pictures from your nest, Beth. So I'll let you take it away. What's
Yeah.
going on at them? I know this is last week, I believe. I tried to keep it in chronicle, kind of in order. So these are a week old, I believe. I think is what you said. So
This was last week's photos, and then we have this week's photos. So they'll be like a week apart. But yeah, I'm a good distance away from this nest, and it is. One of the things that drives me nuts is with photographers sometimes is they try to get so close to the nest. And if you get too close to the nest, you're not going to get much of a photo of what's going on in the nest. And I'm at least 300 feet away from this nest, and I am working my way through tree foliage to try to find a spot where I can see both the eaglets, and you can see the one leaf is infringing on the one eaglet, and it's getting harder for me to see these guys. But now, unfortunately, pretty much the only way I'm going to see them after this week is by being pretty close to the nest, which means they've got to be looking at me in order for me to get a photo of them, or branching.
It gets tricky. I know my nest out here in Washington's almost fully leafed out. I've kind of found a small window. I haven't gotten a glimpse of the eaglets yet, but I'm seeing all the behaviors of feeding and stuff. So my guess is they have at least 2, maybe 3. I'm not positive yet. Hopefully it'll stay this little window. I don't know if the tree will leaf out even more, but if it does, I'll probably be like, it's going to be really hard to see anything. But I can definitely see the adults, but haven't caught a glimpse of the eaglets. So, and these nests, my nest is a little further behind than Beth's. Yeah, great shots of those, and you can see that that big imposing beak. They're not quite grown into it yet. The head's a little smaller, so you can tell that they're not quite ready to fledge. Once they get closer to fledge, they'll that head fills out, and you can kind of see it.
This is when I kind of start sending Advil up to the nest, because I just think all those pin feathers coming out is just got to be painful. But this is the same nest, and this is a very typical view of them when I drive by under the nest. So one is always bold and out, not being shy about looking over the rim, and the other one always kind of hides back by the trunk of the tree. But yeah, these two birds have a lot happening around them. They're in a neighborhood, an average American neighborhood. So there's a lot of human activity going on. And it was going on when they nested. This is a case of a nest that is unfazed by living with humans. So it's a very interesting sort of petri dish nest. And this is our first year watching it. Last year was the first year that they nested, and they fledged one. So we're hoping for the success of the 2.
Yeah, good shots. And as you can see, they're transitioning to that full dark brown that you would see for a first year eaglet and fledgling. So they're getting there. But as you said, they have that little spikiness, and they're kind of transitioning still. This is I like this shot, and it's you get a good look of those feet too. The feet, they have not grown into those feet yet. So
no,
and then
this is another one of my nests. Yeah, and the 2 of them are there, which I love. The 3 nests that I watch all have 2 eaglets, and they're all in white pines. So wow, I've got a similar thing going on here. But this is another one of the nests. This is a long-time nest, and this is a nest that I usually use as a comparison to the nest that I say is the best nest that we have. It averages 2.3 eaglets per season, which is high. So they usually have 3, but this year they have 2. But this nest has never been greatly successful. So the one nest has fledged 17 over the years, and this one has fledged 6. But this year it's got 2. So the female did switch out around the time of avian flu. She was just a very timid bird who wanted absolutely nothing to do with humans. So since the new female came in, they've been productive every year, and And this year it'll be great to be able to mark down 2 fledges.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, they're looking very healthy and good looking birds. So
And
that's
this
good to
nest
see.
is the one I am most afraid of losing now because
Yeah,
it is stripped of every branch through the
yeah,
storms that we've had, and I don't know how this nest is still
yeah.
there. This nest
That's
is huge.
we showed this on the last podcast, right? This is a similar.
It's like the
Okay, yeah,
popsicle tree,
yeah. It's just unfortunate. Yeah, with all the storms.
lollipop tree. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. There's another one.
This one is my tried and true nest that
Yeah,
usually has 3, but they've got the 2 this year. So they're a little bit behind the other 2 nests. She definitely did not start incubating until late this season. She waited for all the storms pretty much to pass.
yeah, and you can see kind of the still the white and gray on the
Yeah.
top of the heads that they're a little bit farther behind. So yeah, that makes sense.
They definitely are not looking like they're catching
Yeah.
up to mom anytime soon.
Yeah.
So this is back to the nest that is the lollipop nest. And if something happens to me, no one's going to ever know these photos, who
Yeah.
they belong to, what nest they belong to. But I just love this look. It's like mom said, okay, for this photo, let's everyone look really majestic and like
Yeah.
we're deep in thought.
And you can see that clear as day on the one that's standing up. It's I don't know if it's fully in, but it definitely looks like it has its majority of its flight feathers. You can see that. So yeah, these guys you can tell that they're a little farther along, and they'll be what are we looking at? Maybe 7 weeks? Does that sound right, Beth?
Yeah.
Around there? 7 or 8? Yeah.
You're better at that than I am.
Yeah.
This is that same nest. And I'm down on the road. I'm in the car. I use my car as a blind. There were a lot of people stopped. This nest has become suddenly very obvious because it's
because it lost all its
lollipop.
camouflage. Yeah.
But I have to say, I very much appreciated that everyone was staying in their car.
Yeah.
Because, people out and about, and if they trespass and try to walk closer, which has happened in the past, the chicks get very alarmed. So in this case, they're getting used to humans, I guess, to some degree in cars. And I just want them to safely fledge and without any traumatic incident. But yeah, I love the one in the Y of the tree looking straight up. There were, I think when I pulled up, there were 5 cars, and you come up over a ridge, and this nest just kind of hits you in the face, and it's like it's a really awkward place to stop. There's no shoulder. And people are getting upset because there's a lot of people stopped on the side of the road.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is very exciting, of course, to see an eagle nest, but we have to respect them, keep distance, and that's just our reminder. Keep your distance, especially when we get near fledging. It can be, even though you think, oh, they're big birds now, they're almost fully grown. We don't want to get too close. So you start disturbing them. They have in the past at some nests. If they are disturbed or get scared, we don't want them to fledge early. It's a bad thing for them. They can get hurt. So we just want to keep the distance on these nests, and
they kind of panic. You try not to anthropomorphize, but you can see it. That they're nervous, they're agitated.
Yeah.
They're bouncing around because they don't know why that person is coming close to them. And, you assume they've been instructed, those people with forward facing eyes are not good for us. And then they can easily prematurely, leave the nest.
Or fall out of the nest. That's another thing that we don't want to have happen. I know we had talked about it at the last pod with the one out in California on the islands where it's a low nest, but these, of course, are way up in the tree, and you don't want them falling out of the nest because there's a very low percentage that they'll survive. Even though they do have flight feathers, we do rescue. We've seen better results when eaglets at this age fall out because they do have some sort of wing to kind of glide down, but it's still not great for them.
But they've got to know to enact it, and sometimes they panic and they just don't think to try to fly, even though you would think it would be instinctual. But again, the same nest, these guys just kept posing, and I'm like, gosh, it's just one, great photo op after another. I think I am about 200 feet from the nest when I'm taking these, and it's because it's on a road. this nest, you can be a little bit closer to, like the one in the neighborhood, but you don't want to linger. So you want to get your shots
Yeah.
and move on. And that's what I ask people who were there. If you got your shots, move on. Or if you observed them for a while, let's give them a break. And most people are receptive to it, and nobody's threatened me yet.
Yeah.
But this is a nest where it helps to have a four-wheel drive to get off the road.
Yeah.
So we do not make that a requirement to join the BENW, but it does help.
It does help. Yeah, for sure. The other thing that's very interesting about this nest, I know we had talked about, because of the storm, we've lost some nests and they've come down. You can kind of get a good clear picture from Beth's shot. Like, look at all these large branches kind of like skewed all over the place. This one's a big one. That must have been a real chore to get up there. But
Yeah.
it shows you, like, when we were talking about nests that come down, and it's just like, you can clearly see with something like this, nest like this, if it comes down, it's gonna just go everywhere. It's not like your local robin nest where they use mud and other stuff to kind of keep it together, or swallow nests or whatever. These nests just come down and they're just pretty much explode, because they're just a bunch of sticks kind of put together, and there's just no glue or nothing to hold it. So that's
and you can also tell that this just looks like a facade on the front of the nest, like there's nothing behind them.
Yeah.
And that's because they know they're being looked at from the road, and so they built the rail up higher on the roadside. But then, eaglets appear to me to be quite curious, so they're always looking over the rail, especially when they get to a certain size. And so it's just humorous to me that it's, she even, you can see the brown grass there. She even had a tall pile of grass there that was up over the rim trying to block views. Yeah, it didn't work. So this is back to the nest that's in the neighborhood, but I took a broader view just to show you. I just think this is a beautiful nest.
It's nice looking. Yeah.
And it's a white pine with branches now, after being at the last one that's the lollipop. So it's hard to get Mom where she likes to perch in the photo with the eaglets, but this one, again, it does have the two. These were the two that were looking over the nest, and the one keeps hiding, sort of. But I just think it's a beautiful nest. And then there's a house directly below it that has construction workers on it. So there's a mass of humanity below this nest. And I will say, I don't often agree with things that contractors do on the job site. There is no blaring music. So I do appreciate the fact that the contractors here have been very, very respectful of the eagle's nest. And they came out to eat lunch, and they were sitting there, and I said, I would not sit there if I were you. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I really wouldn't. You just move a little further away from the tree, and then you'll see why I said it coming up.
Yep. I just thought this was a hilarious picture.
I was bossing them around, and it was like, I just know what's going to happen here eventually. Are going to get hit. And
you know that stuff. Though. That's
but I kind of thought this was the eaglet saying, move along now.
Yeah.
So, but when you look at those tail feathers, boy, man, that just, to me, again, I want to give them a little bit of Advil.
Yeah.
Because
you can see they're not fully in. Still a little ways to go.
But a great poop shooter.
Yeah. This is a really good one. Just staring at it, and we're gonna do one last segment. It's not eagle related, but it is raptor related. So it's kind of like we talked about this throughout. We have so many conversations, Beth and I, and it's like, what the is going on here? Either we find something online, or it's at one of our nests, or something in our neighborhood. So I thought this eaglet is kind of exuding, what is going on down there? Just staring at Beth taking a picture. But
I often say, no, the bird really isn't looking at me. There was other activity going on, and and I'm far away. Does it know I'm there? Sure, it does. But in this case, it's like, no, they were looking at me. And I have a hybrid car, so when I back up, it makes a noise that still gets my attention. I haven't had it long, and so they were looking at the car because it was making that It just made that odd noise going in reverse. So I don't know. They might both be male because they were really interested in the car.
So I'll let you talk about this, but you had let's hear the story of the pair of Osprey in your area. This is an interesting one.
This is I work part-time, and I noticed a couple weeks ago that I have been watching them build a nest up on a cell tower, and it's amazing to me the size sticks that these birds can haul up to that nest. But that nest site is really way up there, way taller than a normal osprey platform. And then I went by and I saw an osprey that was sitting in the middle of a farm field, and this is a close-up picture. It does not even begin to give you an idea of how big this farm field is. It's hundreds of acres, and this bird is I'm really bad at distance, but it's like a more than half a football field off the road maybe. But I just kept noticing it, and it's laying down in the soil as though it's incubating. It is not standing. It's laying down. Now these pictures, they're both standing up, but so I go to work, I come home, and that one is still laying there. And then I thought, I am being stupid. That bird is probably injured and it needs help, and I just keep driving by. But I keep seeing it moving and flying too. So, but I haven't seen it, at a very high altitude. So 2 days ago, I stopped and I started to walk out into the field, and it immediately took off. And so I just stopped and turned around and went back to my car. But I was prepared to take it to rehab should I need to do it. And so, but it would make a call, and the second osprey would show up. So it was calling for help. And so yesterday, Ken and I went because he wanted to see it. And I had the thought that the bird had maybe laid an egg when it was not prepared to do so, and it laid it in the field. Maybe we should go check and see if there is an egg out there. And in which case, maybe I need to figure out whose farm this is and notify them. And so Ken and I walked out there in the field, and we couldn't find any egg. We couldn't find anything. But it called the other osprey in, and those osprey were mad, and they were defending that patch in the soil. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. So they both landed in the exact same spot. I thought there was copulation that was about to happen because initially it landed on top of the other bird. So I believe the bird to the left is the female, and it has more of a patch on its chest. But if anybody out there knows a behavioralist, I did talk to our local rehab, and she has somebody that knows these birds a little better. And so she's going to talk to her. But her initial thought was that, it was lead poisoning or possible illness from fish. But they both fly fine, and I think you have evidence of that in here too.
That's the happy couple together. Yeah, I mean, they look healthy. That's the weird thing. And here they are flying.
Yeah. And then I don't know that I've ever received such a case of stink eye as I have in this moment right here.
What are you doing?
This was get out of my farm field. It is my farm field, and I don't want your ilk in here. So, but I mean, that bird, I have a 100 to 500 lens. I don't know what I shot this at, but I was definitely not at 500. Right over me, and I thought I was going to get a direct poop shoot shot. Yeah,
it's very interesting. And if you have expertise in the osprey and you are watching this, let us know. We'd love to learn a little bit more. As we've said, bald eagles are kind of our expertise in our wheelhouse, and you definitely see bald eagles in fields more than you would see osprey. That's why it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Most of the time you see a bald eagle, there's roadkill or some sort of thing that they're scavenging. Ospreys are, I think if I remember correctly, it's like 99% of their diet is fish that they catch, fresh fish. It's weird that they're in the field, and maybe
I've never seen one on the ground. I don't think ever. Not even dragging a big fish to the,
you never see it like that. Especially bald eagles are, as being scavengers for part of their diet, they're on the ground a fair amount, and you wouldn't think as much, but when an osprey's on the ground, it is a little weird. So hopefully we get some information or something.
And this was territorial, like nest defensive behavior.
Yeah.
They were circling us and yelling at us, in Osprey speak, until we were back on the grass on the side of the road. It's like they have a cache of something out there, but whatever it is, we didn't see it.
Yeah.
So it was just really unique behavior, but they look like beautiful, healthy birds. They flew very strongly. And yeah, this look was kind of like, wow, that bird is mad that I am right here. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't. So strange.
And because I'm used to seeing eagles on the ground with their young or, eating a carcass off in the field, I initially didn't think anything of it. And then on Facebook, and I don't know, it might have been Terry who posted something about an eagle that was down and was passed for a couple days before it was brought into rehab, and then it was too far gone to be brought back from the precipice and it had to be put down, that I thought, I just keep passing that osprey. What am I doing? I need to go check on it because that is just odd. And so that's why I walked out there in the field and nearly got myself handed back to me by a bird.
Yeah, and that's a good lesson too. If you observe anything, eagle or whatever the type of bird or wildlife, if that as well, that it seems odd and you're just not sure, your local rehabbers are great resources. We love our local rehabbers in Wisconsin. They do a great job and they're always willing to answer questions. So you might as well, instead of just waiting multiple days, like, oh no, there's nothing going on, just give them a call or an email or something. Ask them, like, this is what I'm seeing. They usually like to see like videos or photos because then they can kind of get an idea what's going on. Yeah. And then they can tell you, okay, yeah, I think we have a problem here. Or no, that's perfectly fine. So it's always good to reach out to them if you do have a question. They're usually very supportive. They obviously have a passion to keep our birds or our wildlife safe and healthy. So if you have a problem, I would definitely suggest that you reach out to your rehabbers. They just have a bevy
wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, wealth of knowledge of what's going on. And
it was interesting that our local, the one that I called, was just as curious about this as I was. And she's like, now I want to find out what's going on there. Why, this doesn't make any sense. Hopefully, between her talking to some other people and us asking you if you know somebody who really knows ospreys backwards and forwards and forwards and backwards, this is not something that I'm going to figure out without help. Certainly, if we're able to even figure it out.
Yeah. So with that being said, if you want to contact us, our email is nestingeaglespodcast@gmail.com. You can always hit that subscribe button so you get notices of when we go have our next podcast. Like, share, and comment. If you do have any like thoughts on this, definitely let us know. We're curious as well. So hopefully if we do
we always want to learn more, Drew and I both.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I really love about the bald eagle nest watch is we always see things that are new, and I feel like I'm always learning, even though I've been doing this a while, and Beth has been doing this for a while too. But there's always information that comes out, and we're observing stuff. So at the nest cams, hearing about it from our volunteers, observing it ourselves. So it's always an interesting process. I feel like we're always learning more and more about eagles, which is great. And then some of our other raptors, it's also fun to delve into that as well because there's some very interesting raptors as well. And especially ospreys are really cool too. So, and
I have 5 male Baltimore Orioles outside my window fighting over the feeders right now. We're gonna have a boomer crop of Baltimore Orioles this year, which will be exciting.
Yeah, I've been hearing that, probably a lot of people follow the radar too. I think I'd heard about that. I think this past week was a big radar migration time. So it's a fun time of year to do that as well as observing the nest. So
the warblers, I guess, have been incredible along Lake Michigan right now.
All right. With that being said, I will sign off for today, and thank you again for watching.